Christmas, but I didn't physically show you. So this is what I'm going to show you. As recycling, it's, you know, a wine bucket, and so my deciding to use this as my vase is just to show you that you can use just about anything as your vase. The one thing I do want to warn you is if you do use silver, you never want to put tape on your silver, because the tape will leave a residue and it can ruin your silver piece. And so you always want to do whatever you can to not use it. So I have a liner. I could have done that, but it's extremely deep, which would mean I'd have to use an enormous amount of Oasis, and really didn't need it. So instead, I just chose to use a smaller container to set my Oasis in and to protect it. And so what I'm going to show you is when you take your branch and you set it into your Oasis, this branch is not overly heavy or tall, so it would work just as is, to be honest. But if you had a taller branch and you were really worried about it, because your Oasis, it'll hold for a little while, but if it gets shook or anything, it just keeps getting looser and looser and looser, and the next thing you know, you're having dinner and the branch is falling closer and closer to that guest you don't want. So what I would suggest, it's kind of like staking a tree, and that is you put your tape down, you wrap around, and you come back to the other side. Now, then you could do it the opposite direction, and this branch is not going to go anywhere. It can pretty much travel, it can pretty much do anything. So I kind of made a crisscross. I don't know if you can see it, green on green, but this one's brought around, and then this one's brought around the other way, and this branch is pretty secure. So that would be the way that I would do each branch. In doing that also, you're anchoring your Oasis to your container. So for each branch, would you do it? Yes, if they were really, really sturdy and, big and weighty. These I don't feel like I have to, and I apologize, Linda, from the very beginning, because this is going to shed a little bit.
I don't care.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in, so I can kind of get the feel for what I'm thinking I'm going to do. And I'm going to begin by placing my branches around. You know, sometimes less is best and sometimes it's not. So you just, it's a personal opinion. Depends on where you're putting it. But I love blooming branches, and I was just talking, and I was asking about dogwood, and I was told it's not quite there yet, but you can see the buds everywhere. Another one of my favorite blooming, there's a peach that blooms, beautiful pink blooms. So there are so many wonderful options. Okay, once you've decided that you have, you know, enough of your red bud placed where you want it, the next thing you do, and this is what I chose to look like lace. And does anyone know what this plant is?
Does it smell? Can't see it. Is that the heart one?
Oh, I do.
I think isn't it verbena?
Verbena.
Thank you. That's what I thought it was.
Can I get up there and look at it? Yeah.
That's what I thought it was when I bought it.
You bought it?
I don't know what it is.
Well, I bought it
I think it's verbena.
at the plant.
You would
yeah.
you might know,
Long time
Charlotte.
ago.
Verbena.
Looks like it to me. You would know. Verbena, maybe?
Is that wrong? Y'all are my ladies of knowledge. So. It's pretty. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It's blooming right now just beautifully. It kind of almost has a hydrangea look, but a lot daintier and very lacy.
Yeah, it is pretty.
And so I will say that it'll last for about 2 days in your oasis, which is not a real long time. And bees love it. But it will also shed. It sheds like crazy in your, into your table. So kind of depends. You'd almost have to make it the same day, or cut it the same day you're going to use it. So all I'm doing right now is I'm trying to give it a very natural look, not giving it a tight, strong feel, because I want it to look like something of nature. Because the tree branches are not perfect. They're going in lots of directions. You want this to go in lots of directions as well, to just give it that looser.
So pretty.
Yes.
Where did you steal those
Viburnum.
redbuds?
Pardon?
Whose yard did you steal the redbuds from?
Well, okay. I always have a great story about where I get things. And this one this morning was one of my better ones, actually. My neighbor down the street has the ugliest redbud tree you've ever seen. Lightning hit it, and it's laying over on its side. And every neighbor begs him every year to cut it down. And he always says, "No, I can't. I grew it for Debbie." And so, that's his standard answer. I've had people stop me. Well, so today, he had a huge crew of men at their house cleaning and trimming bushes. I have the man's card if anyone wants to see. Trimming, not bushes, but their trees. And he said, I haven't gotten to that tree yet. You want me to trim it? I'm over there going click, 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 click. And I go, no, don't trim it. Do not cut a branch off of this bush or this tree. And he goes, well, you are. And I said, you're right, I am. I said, Mr. Kenny grows this tree specifically for me so that every year I have 2 weeks to cut the branches. The tree is really, really not pretty. He has planted 2 more in hopes that they take off and he can get rid of my favorite tree. But so even the yard men were trying to take my tree from me. I could not allow it. Okay, now this is personal opinion. If I was to be putting this, wait, I want to put it up here, sorry. If I was going to be putting this on the table where we were eating, I would never do that. It would be in the way. But if I was going to put it on a buffet or something off to the side, I think you could create a structural piece like this that just kind of gives interest. So that would be the reason I would bring this branch down. These beautiful paperwhites smell divine. Just give one more element of a different texture to this. And where did I get those? Y'all know most of this does not come from my yard. Thanks to the beautiful butterfly garden that is rich with paperwhites right now. It is full of them, and it's beautiful bluebonnets. There's bluebonnets already blooming in the in the butterfly garden. So please go by and see and come out and enjoy it. But that's where these came from, and they were just abundant in the garden. So this is to give another texture, another color to this arrangement. Okay, then the very last thing, let me see if I can grab them. The last thing I'm going to show you is, I went to a class one time, and it was doing very contemporary, and I have very little of it, so I can't really show you too well. It was doing very, very contemporary arrangements. This would not be called contemporary, but it was very dramatic arrangements. And they were real big on having one focal point, and he called it an accessory. And his idea was that you always threw in one element of surprise, kind of a different color, a different texture. And his reasoning for it was, and he called called an accessory. He said, you know, women wear accessories. We wear jewelry, we wear earrings, and they don't always match. You know, it complements. And so his idea was that you throw in one element, and really and truly this should be something a lot bigger. I just didn't have it, but you know, if we had a yellow flower about this big and set it right here where this is going down, that would give you a real POW look, and that was his suggestion. And so I just wanted to share that with you. The last thing I want to do is I wanted to show you how your container can kind of create a look for itself. Okay, it's like if we took the same thing and put it on top of a stump or a log, it would be very earthy looking rather than very formal looking. So I created a vase to show you different elements, to show you what you could do with a vase. This is one vase with another vase inside it. Okay, the inside vase would be the one that would hold your oasis. Okay, and you wouldn't want your oasis to touch certain things. So, of course, a lot of times you see leaves to cover your mechanics. If you did a leaf, you would not have to have the inside glass. Here's another leaf. But let's say you wanted to do something at Christmas or something with reds and whites. If you did this, you wouldn't want your oasis to touch it. And so therefore you put the inside vase to put your oasis in. Okay? And then your candy, you know, it's almost Easter, you can put jelly beans, you know, anything like that. Or you can put different kinds of fruits. And so if you put your lemons, you know, you would never do all four, obviously. This is just a demonstration to show you that if you had your lemons and you had yellow flowers coming out of it, or with whites and all, how pretty it would be. So just think about different ways that you can use different containers and how you can make your container work for your design and be creative of using different elements, because it just makes it more interesting. That's all.